Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence Core. This is Current Affairs for Beginners. Here we want to explain you with basic concepts, terminology, institutions, various examples, case studies, etc. The objective of this is to help the beginners who are starting their preparation and to aid them in newspaper reading. So here the first article in today's newspaper, that is 14th May 2018, is Hezbollah's grip. You know, Hezbollah, it is treated as an terrorist organization by United States and Israel. And it is a Shia dominant group. And this Hezbollah is receiving lot of aid and help from Iran. One of the reasons why United States have moved out from Iran nuclear deal is Iran is actively supporting this group called Hezbollah. And then here we need to understand Lebanon's political system. In this political system, various major groups, social groups, these were given political power. So, in a way, political power is shared among three different groups over here, that is Christians, Sunni Muslims and Shia Muslims. So, president will be from Christian community, and then Shia Muslim will become the speaker, Sunni Muslim becomes the prime minister. So this arrangement, power distribution is unique to this Lebanon. And then customer rights, and then insolvency and bankruptcy code. What is this code is for? Now, if I have started a business, I am unable to run it, then how to liquidate the business or how to declare the business as bankrupt, and what has to do with the existing assets and liabilities of the business, that is dealt through this code called Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So in this Insolvency Bankruptcy Code, let's take company A is there. It might have taken loans from different people. So the loans which it took, these are from financial institutions. They are called as financial creditors. Similarly, there are vendors who supplied certain materials to them. These are called operational creditors. And then in this, a customer who has paid advances to it, how he has to be dealt with, what are his rights when the company is liquidated, that is what is the question posed over here. Here you need to understand Insolvency Bankruptcy Code. Insolvency means the company is unable to run its business. So unsound, that's what is insolvency. Bankruptcy, it means it is no more able to continue as viable business. So insolvency and bankruptcy code deals with it. Here, the term which you need to understand is shell firm. So this shell firm will not involve with any active business. This is being kept on paper for a future use or for tax evasion. So in India, shell firms are a norm rather than an exception. So, but what constitutes the shell firm is not exactly defined by the government. And ISRO, what is ISRO? You know, it's India's premium space research organization. So, ISRO, where it is located, what are its functions, what are its recent achievements, that will be covered in detail in your classes. Here, green propellant is been talking about. Any propellant, how it has to be? So you know, a rocket carries a satellite, a payload. So this payload has to occupy most of the space, and the fuel, it has to occupy the less space. It means it has to be dense, it has to give huge thrust for a unit of mass. So this kind of propellant is, the scientists are researching for. As of now, they are using a propellant that is called hydrazine. Now they have found out a new propellant which is called hydroxyl ammonium nitrate, HAN. And the next thing is, there is another word used that is called monopropellant. So you have this fuel over here. To burn the fuel, you need oxidizer. So without oxidizer, if the fuel is able to burn, then we call it as monopropellant. So HAN is a monopropellant. And then collective assertion. Here the term we need to understand is collegium. So collegium means it consists of Chief Justice of India and 4 senior most judges. Any appointments to higher judiciary, it will be decided by this collegium. The collegium recommendations will be sent to the president and president has to approve that. And then here we have another institution that is called Central Information Commission. You know that Indian Parliament has passed RTI Act. Under this, there are 2 institutions created, CIC at the union level, SIC at the state level. CIC stands for Central Information Commission, SIC stands for State Information Commission. So, if any officer, that is public information officer, do not provide to you the information in 30 days, you can file an appeal in the CIC, Central Information Commission. That is the institution you need to remember here. Next is an open letter to finance ministers. Here the institution that is spoken about is the Finance Commission. It is not a permanent institution. It is created once in 5 years under Article 280 of the Constitution. Its objectives are 2. It has to decide the formula for distribution of divisible pool of taxes between center and the states. This is called vertical distribution. And it also has to be distributed among the states, whatever the share of all the states is. That is what is called horizontal devolution. So vertical devolution, horizontal devolution, it has to identify the formula. So here 14th Finance Commission stated it as 42% and 15th Finance Commission is just came into existence. It is yet to give its recommendations. Here we have another thing that is called Fiscal Responsibility Budget Management Act. So according to this, expenditure of the states have to be within the control. Expenditure of union and expenditure of the states, they shall not cross 3% in its revenue deficit, in its fiscal deficit, and revenue deficit shall be close to 0. So this FRBM Act is meant to control the expenditure of the governments and to bring in fiscal discipline. And then Kerala's development paradox. Here the term which we have to understand is civil society. So civil society, what do we mean by it? We have family, business, etc., which is a personal sphere of the individual. On the other hand, you have the state and its institutions. Between this family and the state, there are many associations and groups. All these together we use the word civil society. So, the civil society is the force behind many social movements. Social movements leads to the development of civil society. Civil society and again promotes the social movements. So that's why they are mutually virtuous cycles. And then here the word we have to understand is the ordinance. So you know that under Article 123, the Supreme Court of India can pass an ordinance. So ordinance will have every effect of a law. It means ordinance functions just like a law. But once the parliament comes into session, it needs to be approved by the parliament within 6 weeks. So, ordinance is a law made by the executive. Lawmaking function belongs to the parliament. Ordinance is a legislative function taken away by the executive. This is exceptional power given in the Indian Constitution to the executive. And then let's come to this article, the changing terms of endearment. So here, the terms used are identity politics. So what are identities? It means the identities can be acquired and natural. So by birth, the identities that are acquired by birth, caste, religion, and then place of birth, that is region, all these are by birth you are getting them. What is your occupation, etc., that is coming through your education and job which you are doing. So that's why every person will have identities. In India, these identities are becoming a mobilizing factor for voting. What identities are mobilized for voting? That is what we call it as caste identities, communal identities, etc. So that's what identity politics. And then here there is another word called minimum support price. So for every crop, The government assures certain price. It means that over and above that, only a trader has to buy that particular product from them. If the prices fall below that, government assures that price to be delivered by it. That's what we call minimum support price. And then a tight walk over China for PM. Here there are two words. One is NATO and the next is Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So this NATO is a Western bloc during the Cold War era. It is headed by United States of America. And today, Russia, China at the leadership, another bloc is developing that is called Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And then, trust in the time of polls. Here we need to understand one word that is called fake news. What is this? So any information which is trying to distort the truth, we call it as fake news. It is also called alternative news. Today, in every election campaign, more than the developmental talk, it is mudslinging which is high, and in the process, spreading the fake news has become a normal phenomenon today. So this is what is the news today, terminology which has come up in our newspaper. This is purely for beginners.